Yeah, look like they've done some updates because even that voice is different. So it may not allow me to share my screen, and so you may just see me looking off into the screen. But I'm gonna go ahead and get going. Shabbat Shalom, Shanquilla or Shanquilla Carter, One Vision Ministry. Um, Abba Yah, I thank you for today. I thank you for just working in me a new area of growth. 52 years and still growing. May I learn to operate in your Torah and use it as your foundation, as a foundation, my foundation. It's not you, you are your foundation. But may I gather the things that you want me to gather from your word, from this lifetime, and from the experiences that I go through, that I may manifest and be what you saw me to be in the womb. Hallelujah. Okay. So I constantly hear people say that forgiveness is something that is merited, and you just give it. And I guess my thing, I think there's a little bit more to it, but I kind of wanted to go away from just the forgiveness aspect and look at some things, a foundational aspect of how we look at it. But first, I'm going to start over here in Yeshua, Isaiah 55. And I'm going to start off right here at 6 and 7. It says, Seek Yahuwah while he is to be found, call on him while he is near. Let the wrong forsake his way. Stop that, what you were doing wrong. And the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to Yahuwah, who has compassion on him, and to our Elohim, for he pardons much. Yahuwah forgives much. We have transgressed his law, and we sin against Yah. A lot of times people take it as we sin against men, but we sin against Yah. So let's deal with this. A lot of people come with a New Testament mindset. So, let me see. Here in Matthew 18, it says, Then Kepha came to him being Yahusha, and said, Master, how often shall my brother? It didn't say a Roman. I still would love for someone to show me where Yahuwah showed forgiveness, or well, he just up and just forgave those of other nations that didn't even seek out forgiveness. Show me that. Show me where they even sought forgiveness of Israel or any one of the Yahudim. Show me that. But again, Master, how often shall my brother, what is my brother? That would be an Israelite, that would be a Yahudim, sin against me, and I forgive him? Up to 7 times? Yahusha said to him, I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. This was a specific question about his brother sinning against him. Not another man, not another nation of people. We're in this land that we're called calling the USA or United States of America as likely as our land. But they've transgressed against us, and not once have they truly sought any forgiveness. They do things consistently, and yet you hear people that look like us forgive them over and over. Yet, where have they really sought the forgiveness? Where have they done anything that shows that they actually should get forgiveness? So I'm gonna kind of go where I think people be getting that stuff from. Maybe I should go backwards on it a little bit. But hold on, I'm gonna hit something else first, real quick. Um, Something else because I have to make it clear. A lot of times, they want to make Yahusha to be about just love, 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 and not explain that that love comes with chastening, but also you have to look at that was just Matthew Yahoo 18. So you go back. I've said this many a times before that there's no such thing as chapter and verse. So you go back, though, what is listed in the same writing, you go back just three chapters. Three chapters. And let's see something here. All right, let's see if this thing ain't Zoom is tripping out on me, but let's still try to work with this thing. So you go right here and it says okay, his taught ones basically had okay, let me see it says and you see a woman of Canaan came from those borders and cried out to him, Yahusha, saying, have compassion on me, O master, son of Dawid. My daughter is badly demon possessed. But he did not answer her a word. He didn't respond to her. And his taught ones, his disciples, came and asked him, saying, send her away, because she cries after us. And Yahusha, he answering, said, I was not sent to other nations. He wasn't sent to her. But she came and was bowing to him, saying, Master, help me. And he answering said, it is not good to take the children's bread, Israel's bread, and throw it to the little dogs. The nations, the dead nations, the other nations that were left or around. But she said, yes, master, for even the little dogs eat the crumbs which fall from their master's table. And Yahusha answering said to her, O woman, your belief is great. Let it be to you as you desire. And her daughter was healed from that hour. See, she was persistent. She was dire in her situation. She requested, she didn't impose, but she requested and let it be known that, she knew she was unworthy, but still allow her crumbs of what Israel was promised. Israel was promised the bread. She just wanted the crumbs off that bread. That's all she wanted. Just a morsel. He relieved her daughter that day. The salvation and healing that Israel is to have, other nations can plead and receive a portion of that. Yes, they can. But then let's still go back to what my focal point is. I'm going to read something here. Okay. Wa'ikra, or Leviticus 19. I've an intent here, and I'm gonna go through some things to show you. But it says, and Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to all the congregation of the children of Yisrael, Yahsharal, Yisrael, and say to them, be set apart." That's not being adjoined, that's not being connected. Set apart. For I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. Am set for I Yahuwah, your Elohim, am set apart. See, each one of you should fear his mother and father and guard my Sabbaths. These are commands that the commandments that he's speaking. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. Do not turn to idols, and do not make for yourselves molded mighty ones. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. Again, these are the commandments. And when you slaughter a slaughtering of peace offerings to Yahuwah, slaughter it in your acceptance. It is to be eaten the same day you slaughter it, and on the next day. And that which is left on the third day is to be burnt with fire. So, if it is eaten on the third day, it is abominable. It is not accepted. And he who eats it bears his crookedness, because he has profaned the set apart offering of Yahuwah, and that being shall be cut off from his people. And when you reap the harvest of your land, do not completely reap the corners of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Why? And do not glean your vineyard, or gather every grape of your vineyard. Leave them for the poor and the stranger. And I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. So he leave some for the less fortunate. Not just Israel, but even for the stranger. Do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another. Still commands. And do not swear falsely by my name, and so profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahuwah. And here's the key: do not oppress your neighbor. This is where I'm gonna probably back off a little bit, because I want to discuss, what does neighbor mean, or rob him. Do not oppress your neighbor. Many of us live in cities and stuff like that, and so we look at the house next to us as our neighbor. But the context here, this is talking, the law is talking to Israel. And so you would have to go and find out what the concept of neighbor meant to Israel and apply that. Otherwise, you won't have the proper context. But of course, many of us have been taught to use what we believe modernly and superimpose it over what is said in the Torah. That is not using the Torah as a foundation, but using our own modern day lifetime and thinking as a foundation. That is out of order. How can something that is of now be put as a first in place of something that was already established? It was already set in order. Do not oppress your neighbors. So I want to deal with that neighbors. That's kind of, I'm gonna briefly hit on something, and I'm gonna show you something. Here in Bimidbar, or Numbers 2, it says, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying, the children of Israel are to camp. Camp. It's more of a war term. Nowadays, people make light of the Israelite camps, and I'm like, I'm not a part of a camp, so I can't really talk negative or positive either way because I don't really know. But camps were established actually initially. It was a war situation, but also they were your neighbors, each one by his own banner, you know, beside the sign of his father's house. Let the camp around the tent of appointment. Let them camp around the tent of appointment at a distance. So, on the east side toward the sunrise, those of the banner of Yehuda camp according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Yehuda, Nashan, son of Amadai, and his army with their registered ones, 74,600. And those camping next to him, the tribe of Issachar. And so this continues with all of the tribes. And so they all were around the tent, all around, the tent of appointment. And thus they were neighboring each other. So when it talks about neighbor, they were talking about other tribes of Israel. They were not talking about other nations, other peoples. They were talking about themselves. Just like earlier when I said the forgiveness, he was talking about brother, forgive a brother. Was not talking about other nations. Our laws were pertaining to us. It didn't have a point of reference to other nations. And a lot of times when it did, it spoke of strangers, but they had to fall in line with what was going on with us, our laws. We did not bend to other laws. Those laws were superseded by our laws. That's how we went about it. Now we're in captivity. Of course, we don't have the say, but still, the way Yah has designed it, we are supposed to focus on His way first and adhere to that. So when it comes to issues, we're supposed to look out for one another, be able to forgive our brothers. We see other nations. I happen to witness just this week. Um, my wife's car needed to be dealt with, and I seen a man of another nation that was working on my car almost run over another man of that other nation of people. And so I didn't see any apology occur, not one. And then I didn't even see an acknowledgement of, "Oh, you almost hit me." I didn't see none of that. And even when I questioned the guy, I was like, did he apologize for almost hitting you? The guy wouldn't even respond. He didn't have anything to say. He would not hurl any accusation towards the other guy. And the other guy came in and still didn't apologize. And I'm like, wow, they were definitely on code. They covered one another. We as a nation don't do that. We'll be the first ones to call the law or call someone on the outside to have them intervene on something instead of us address it ourselves with our brother. We don't seek to forgive or work out situations with our neighbors, our true neighbors. Israel nowadays, we seek other folks. And we show very much that the words that they put over us have taken some resonance with us. When you're a minority, you're actually saying that I'm a minor, that I require a guardian. I require someone to be over me. We are not a minority. But if you look up in Black's Laws Dictionary, when you say that you're a minority, you're saying that you're in need of a guardian, a need of a overseer, someone to look after you. Overseer, officer, overseer, the same thing. We should be able to police ourselves, but we choose not to. Now, there was a time that the Black Panthers were doing things like that, but of course, they don't want us to do that. Because if we do that, we start operating as a ruling people, and they don't want us to return to rule. So let's go over here to Matthew Yahoo 22, and let's go down. Alrighty. Da, da, da. I'm gonna start right here. Let me see. It says right here. It says 36. I'm gonna start at Matthew Yahoo 22 and 36. It says, "Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah?" And Yahusha said to him, "You shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with your heart and with your being and with all your mind. This is the first and great command." So it's a commandment. He said basically, they asked him about the Torah. You'll see some people try to make this into a new law and everything and grab these, by themselves, ignoring that this in itself is out of the Torah. And it specifically said, and one learned in the Torah did question, trying him, saying, "Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah?" Not out of the Torah, in the Torah. He didn't, and it says, okay, this is the first and great, okay. And then it says, in the second is, "You shall love your neighbor." Your neighbor. We just got through talking about what neighbor really was in the Torah, as yourself. And these two commands hang all the Torah and the prophets. All the Torah hangs on these, and the prophets hangs on these too, because your dealings is with Israel, but the Father is the head, or and Yahusha operates as the head, but the Father is his head as well. And then you deal with Israel, which is the body. So the whole context is loving yourself, your head, and your body, your nation, your people. And I know people will focus and say, well, what about the other people? You can't love somebody until you learn to love yourself. You can't properly love anyone else if you don't love yourself first. It doesn't work that way. We won't be the proper royal priesthood until we get ourselves in order. The disarray that we're walking in, the disobedience that we're walking in, we will just teach the other nations that. So we need to get our stuff together, start walking in Torah so that we can give that example. We don't want to give the example of the rebellion. We've been in the rebellion so many decades, so many centuries, so many lifetimes we've been in rebellion. Let us walk in righteousness, love towards one another, learn to forgive one another, and then we can process forgiving other nations. But we haven't even forgiven ourselves. We haven't learned to love ourselves. It's not about hate. A lot of folks put that we focusing on us right now as if we hateful. Other nations have been focusing on themselves for a long time, and it has not been a problem. But because we do it, it's an issue. This makes no sense. It's kind of mentally psychotic, to be honest, to have us not worry about ourselves, or it's like self-awareness is a problem. It's when you only focus on yourself altogether, that's a problem. But you got to be self-aware. You got to know, okay, I'm out of line. Your discernment need to know, you have to have the discernment to know that you are part of your problem, so that you can resolve that. How do you fix a situation that you don't know needs fixing? That doesn't it doesn't add up. If I had something hanging out my nose right here talking on this video, I'm gonna keep talking the video and stuff because I don't recognize it. I don't recognize it. It's good that someone will alert me and let me know, oh, you got something hanging out your nose, so I can clean that up. So we sometimes, need to do a self check because we don't have people to hold us accountable like that. So we need to sit in the mirror, look at ourselves, and say, oh, I got that. Got it. We need to be accountable to one another because we are one body. If I'm out the loop, messed up, you thinking you all right, your love for your brother is off, so you not all right. My love for my brother got to be on point because that's my neighbor. That's my neighbor. That's your true neighbor, your brother, your kinsman. That's your true neighbor. So I'm gonna have to work out this Zoom thing. I don't know what's going on with it. Maybe I might even have to look into another app because I don't know. Zoom been tripping lately. But still, we got to get this foundation and stuff down. I get it. Christianity had us looking at everybody and stuff like that, and individualizing things even for ourselves. But we're organism. I heard a phrase called Ubuntu. Basically, it was a wonderful situation that it was going on. To me, the result was, to me, these colonizers came into a African society, and they tried to get these children to compete with each other. They said, okay, well, whoever gets to this first gets to eat the food or whatever. And the children linked arms up together, and they all walked to the situation together and got there at the same time, and they all shared the food. And the man was astonished, like, why'd you do that? You could have had it for yourself. Or it's like, I need them to survive. We need to have the mindset that I need you to survive. You know, Start off in your household. I know I need my wife to survive. And I try to put everything in my children for them to survive as well. Even though I know that I'm also raising them to move up out of here and start their own homes. This sanctuary, this household has to be set as a place of peace, a place of escape from this world. Otherwise, I'm going to want to escape it. And I escaped a marriage before. I don't want to do that. I want this to be my sanctuary, my peace away from everything else, so that I can refresh and get back out into it, because I got to battle this world every day just to do for my household. And it's a task. But I also want to be at peace and with my neighbor. My neighbor, my nearest neighbor is my household. Not the people next door, not the people across the street. Those people aren't Israel. And even if they are Israel, they don't recognize themselves as such. So it's not the same. I'm definitely doing my diligence trying to alert and awaken people and tell them who we are, but everybody's not receptive of that. So they're not going to operate in Torah. And so if you're not operating in Torah, you're not my brother. You're not my kinsman. I got a many people that are sojourners, and I see them as Israel because what? They walk in commands, the Torah. My love for them is strong because they show their commitment to Yah. If you love Yah like that, I gotta love you. Period. I'm his first, then my wife and my children's, my mom. But if you walking in the Torah, I can call you neighbor. I can forgive you. And see, a lot of times, I'm gonna even tell you this. Forgiveness is something that should be sought. You shouldn't just, up and give it, but sometimes you may have to for your own peace of mind. I've had to forgive people just for my own peace of mind. Not that I've restored them and allowed them to come back into my situation, but I didn't want to be bound up by constantly, having hostility and anger towards them. So no, they free. I ain't no hardship. You know, cool, love them, but the distance is not hindering me from moving and doing what I need to do. They chose the distance, and I'm just honoring that. I'm good with it. In the past, I probably would have been, oh, where they at? But now, it's like, hey, I got so much business to do as far as my own, I'm like, I don't even have time a lot of times to cut my own grass and get that done, to rest up. I love these Sabbath. I be needing this rest. I be tired. I'm 52 years old. I'm not young like I used to be. I don't even get to do the exercise I want to. I've been wanting to work out, and I had to sneak in some push-ups here and there, stuff like that. I don't get to do what I want to do a lot of times because the time ain't there. People always want to come and take my time and think that, and I'm like, I'm a busy worker. I'm a laborer. I don't have all this, I'm not rich. Like, you know, if I had an abundance of money, I would be doing a lot of helps towards people. But I definitely would have to still be about my stewardship game. I got to make sure that I take care of not just me, but my children's children. Giving it to folks who ain't adding up nothing, that don't make sense. Yes, you take care of somebody that's down, downtrodden and needs some help. But some of them gotta help themselves. If they physically able, they need to get up and do something themselves. And that's loving my neighbor by telling them that. You need to be a good steward of what's been given to you. You can't be walking around here like you a pocket that's a pocket with a hole. That's what you is. Somebody put something in you and it's gone and never to be seen again. You need to learn how to retain something and add to it to increase it. Otherwise, you another debt. That ain't no. Ain't nobody out here supposed to be working to tend to folks that ain't trying to work themselves. That's very capable of working. That does no. Shouldn't be no 30, 40-year old dependents out here that's fully able to depend on themselves. That's evil. That's evil. But again, your neighbors, according to scripture, is Israel. Loving your neighbor, those that are set apart, is not the same as loving this world. Abiyah, I thank you for today, this opportunity to just talk. I know the Zoom acting up. Maybe you can help me resolve it. Give me the patience and the peace to deal with it, but also just let me enjoy this Shabbat and this day. Um, I thank you for all that entertained and watched the video through Facebook. I didn't get to check to see who was on there. Excuse me. I sent out an invite to the Zoom. Nobody really showed up. So hey, that is what it is. But this message was for you, y'all. I wanted to set a foundation and give some Torah truth so that somebody can apply it. Maybe those that in the range of hearing it that you have wanted to hear this, heard it, and it can do what it's supposed to do. I thank you. Shabbat shalom and hallelujah. Hallelujah.